Hi everyone, my name is Kat and I want to welcome you to my design studio where today I'm going to teach you guys how to make a perfect wreath that is great for if you have a home in the mountains or you have a mountain cabin, or perhaps you just want to keep a memory of a mountain experience close to you. I'm going to teach you how we're going to work on that design today. We voted on it this week and this is what you guys overwhelmingly picked. So we're going to start doing that every week. I'm going to give you a couple choices and then we'll work on whatever it is that you guys would like to see designed on our Tuesday lives. So if you are a first-time viewer, welcome. I'd like to extend a personal welcome to you, but also find out where you're from. So if you can, just leave a comment down below and let me know where you're joining us from. And a lot of times Facebook connections are made on a Facebook Live. Hi, Mary. How are you? It's just me flying solo today. So what else? If you like this design and want to replicate it once you order all of your materials, hi, Irene. Thank you. First time from West Virginia. Welcome. If you want to replicate this design once you have all of your materials ordered, I'm just going to turn down my heater. Then click the share button below. It'll share this video to your Facebook page where it's easier to find. That's kind of what I did when I very first started out, so that once I got all my stuff, I was like, where did I watch the tutorial? How do I find it again? It just makes it so much easier. And also, if this is your first time, or maybe you've been here a while, but you haven't clicked the like and follow button, if you guys can do that, that helps me. It also helps you so that you know whenever I go live, you should be notified as long as you're on your cell phone. All right. Hi, Cheryl. She says, hi, Kat from Canada. Welcome. YouTube subscribers, it's a little bit different because you're catching a replay from a Facebook Live. So if you want to get involved in an actual live tutorial, come join me on Facebook. It's at Kat's Creations Race. And YouTubers, if you want to get notified when there's a new video being uploaded, just subscribe to my page or my channel by clicking on the bell in the upper right hand corner. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pivot you down so that it's like we're working opposite from each other across the counter. So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to drop you right down so you can see my workspace. Hi, Deborah. She said, long time no see. I've missed you. She is from Missouri, so welcome, Deborah. Okay, first thing I want to remind you guys, because far too often we just automatically assume everything is going when we're very first starting off. We're using a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame, but one of the things that we sometimes neglect to do is just make sure that everything's intact, which means just pick up your wreath form and squeeze, and see right here, when I squeezed, it kind of gave way, and it shows you right there that we have a broken weld. And so that would just be disastrous if you had gotten everything done and by the time you're like wiring on your last pipe cleaner, you notice that you have a broken weld. So could you fix this? Maybe. It's always going to be a compromised weak spot in your design, but you could maybe take like E6000 if your husband's a welder, which mine is not. He can go ahead and weld that joint for you and then you're good to go. So we're going to start from here and we're going to, let me show you the sign first of all. So this is our sign that we are working with. So this is, I'm trying to get it without the glare. There we go. This is a 10-inch round from Personalize It By Pam, and she is found on Etsy. And this is one of her new designs for this year. So this just works really well for us because we kind of have everything. We have the forest, we have the rivers, we have the bridges, we have the mountains, obviously Mount Rainier, because we're here in Washington. So this is going to be a gorgeous wreath. Right, Gail? I know. I loved this sign. And it's funny because when I showed it to Steve, he goes, oh, are you going to make a wreath for our front door? And I was like, no, but maybe. Okay. So we're going to take our pipe cleaner and I'm just going to show you how to do one section. You're just going to take, and I'm going to put this on one of the better sections right here. In each section, you're going to wire together the two inside rings with one pipe cleaner, just like this. And you're just going to use the welds to determine a halfway point. It doesn't have to be perfect. Hi, Karen. Welcome. Then we're going to take another 2. We're going to use this in the weld and wire together the 2 outside rings. And this helps create some stability for our design. It keeps things in place so they're not sliding around all over the place. And there is no glue requirement. So this is exactly how you would do it. There would be 6 on the inside 2, 12 on the outside 2 for a grand total of 18. I'm trying to figure out which way my heater's going. It's super cold outside. It's like 39 here. It's like, what the heck happened to spring? We are going to be using a cotton drift mesh. This is from Craft Outlet. It's my new favorite mesh. So it just has, instead of it having like the cotton ball mesh where you had little clumps of the cotton, this is ran all the way through the design. So with this particular type of mesh, because it has both the jute fibers and the cotton fiber, you're going to need to use a rotary cutter to cut 18 pieces at 20 inches long. So we're going to ruffle this method because we really want to showcase that sign and the embellishments we're going to be adding to it. So we want a flat surface to work on. So we're just going to take this center line right here, and you're just going to start pulling the mesh towards you. It's going to kind of zigzag. Don't worry about it being overly perfect. Just like that. And we're going to go, I start on the inside. It's just easier that way. Couple twists. I know I'm not going to be using the inside at all. So normally I just go ahead and snip off the inside one, because by the time I put my bow and my sign and all the embellishments, these are going to be in the way. And it's not something that you have to remember to do after the fact. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do the 2 outside pieces. Remember, the one here is basically a filler for the 2 outsides in each section. So it just kind of helps create a more full and dense look on your wreath. I'm going to go ahead and grab this one. We're going to lay that right on the inside. Couple twists. And then what I like to do is, since we're not wood burning our edges, we have to rotary cut, is I like to fold them just a little bit so those raw edges aren't so like getting caught on everything. So I just kind of fold them down just like that. And then we'll go ahead and add our other one to this section. And I do finished edges to the center, which means these are my cut ends. This is a finished end. So the finished end, oops, gonna reach around and grab the other side. Finished edge is going towards the middle, just like this. Okay, 2 twists. Again, go ahead and fold your edges. Fold your edge here. And then you want to make sure that you have a really nice transition between the 2 meshes. See, here's my middle. And make sure that everything is completely covered so that we have access to both sections of the outside, which is where we're going to be adding our ribbon tails. Any questions on that so far? Oop, I got Facebook kicked me out. What the heck, Facebook? Okay, well, we're back in. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Kim. Hi, Darlene. All right, so I'm going to snap my fingers. And just like that, we finished. And that's exactly what it looks like when you get it all complete. So this is all 18 pieces of Deco mesh. Hi, Kay. Welcome. All 18 pieces of Deco mesh, 6 on the inside. I already moved all of the 6 insides. And so we're just going to be working with the 12 on the outside. So we're going to go ahead and add our ribbon tails. So I just felt this was a little easier for you guys. These are our ribbon choices. So we're going to be using a hunter green, a solid hunter green with the pine. The hunter green is from Michael's a couple years ago at Christmas. The pine is from Joann's about 3 years ago at Christmas time. And then we're doing a solid brown, but we grabbed the wrong ribbon with that. With the chocolate, the beige, and the green all done together. So those are going to be our primaries to the outside. So what I'm going to do, the 2.5 inch pieces are both cut to 14 inches. The 1.5 inch pieces are cut to 19 inches. So I said Michael's, Joann's, this is Craft Outlet, and then this is, let me make sure, Craft Outlet as well. So we are going to alternate these and just place these on the outside. We're going to pop the green into this design. So we're going to just place one on the inside. We're going to give it a good twist. Bring those tails to the outside. Just put your fingers underneath those. And then we're going to take our pine branches and we're going to put our dovetailed edges together. We're going to go about 2 inches to the top and pinch in. And then we're going to place that on the inside. Give it a couple twists. And I'm going to go ahead and snip this off since I'm done with the outside ribbon tails. This little excess piece, I'm going to take it, wrap it all the way behind the loop so that I can open the loop. I have to right side this side of my ribbon, so just flip it over. And I like to pair them to where you can see all four at the same time. So you can see both green and then the pine. And let's go ahead and do our brown. Just by folding it in half like this, it lets me know where the center of my ribbon is. This way, both ends of my tails are exactly the same length, and I don't have to worry about one being shorter than the other. We're going to pinch in, place this on the inside, couple twists, just to make sure it's on there really good. Snip the end off, tuck this behind, and then open that up. And then again, right side one of our tails. Trying to get that one right in the center so that we can see both ends of our ribbon, just like that. So that is going to be our ribbon choices all the way around. Hi Audrey, welcome. How are you? Again, right to the center. Couple twists. And then we'll put our pine ribbon in. Do you guys have any questions at all that I can answer for you while we're working, or while I'm working and you're watching? Thought I had snipped that one. We're having weird, wacky weather here. Windy, sunny, raining, hailing. It's just a weird day. If we were in California, we would call this earthquake weather. And the weather just can't make up its mind what it wants to do. Hi Nancy, welcome from Florida. Hi Cam. Yes, I love this sign. This sign is absolutely beautiful. When I saw it, I was like, that's my home sign. I will take a picture of it on the front door. Chris said, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm getting somebody who's sending me a private text saying I can't hear you. So can you guys just give me a thumbs up, like just a quick heart or quick thumbs up to let me know that the volume is okay. Beller says, I was going to ask you about your sign punching tool. what is it and where to get one? It is a metal hole punch from Beadsmith. It is 1.5 millimeter, just like that. And you can get one on Amazon. I think they're like 10 or 12 bucks. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to pinch in. And right now, you see the first one I put on here, I put the brown to the left. This time we're going to do brown to the right. And I'm going to alter that all the way around just for a small little touch. Hi, Francis. Welcome from South Carolina. Thank you, Eileen. She's like, I hear you. Okay. Just wanted to make sure, because sometimes you just never know. Teresa says, wish there was a way to make the pine tree not upside down, right? You could, but it involves cutting your ribbon and then just sticking both pieces in there, which I don't like, because if you go to grab it and pull it, if you grab it too hard to fluff it, you can pull it right out. But that would be the only way. And there are lots of people who do that. They just make the loop in here and then they just add the extra tail. But I'm okay with that. Because even when we do our bow, you know, depending upon how our bow is going to sit, we probably will have a couple of the pine trees go upside down. So, but that is one of those downsides about having a vertical design. Unless you cut and splice it, there's really nothing you can do to get your vertical design going both same direction. I just try to make sure that at least when I'm making my loop, that the loop side has the pine trees going in the right direction. Okay, backing around. We'll open this up. Make sure everything looks nice and presentable. I'm like you, I don't like cutting it either. Yeah, and that's honestly the only way you can do it. There's some people who glue it. They cut it and then they glue it together. I guess that would work. But then, like I said, it's still, every time you cut something, then you have a weak spot. You have a weak joint somewhere. So, but there are people who got them. But that is the only thing we can do. So now we have brown. Remember, brown went to the right. Now brown has to go to the left. I actually just put my ribbon together that way, so when I reach for them, they're already in the right orientation, I guess is the word. It's already ready for me. So if I just grab it without thinking, that's why I have my ribbons all stacked up. So I can just grab the next one, put them in. I am so glad she had this line. This is the first one that I actually found that I really, really like. Okay, this is going in. Spin that around. I guess if we didn't flip our ribbons on the outside, even still if you did it like this, like just a regular tail, you're still going to have them going upside down. Hi Janaea, how are you? Thanks for joining. All the way around. I had thought about doing this on a grapevine, but then I guess you could have done it as a Christmas wreath too, because I think that's what it would come out looking like, is almost a Christmas wreath. And I just didn't want to go with that look. So that's why we went with the mesh. And I had thought about doing like an emerald, like a really deep, dark hunter green. But then the sign just got lost in the mesh. And then you'd really have to work hard at finding ribbon that wasn't green to break up all the green of your mesh. So what do you think I should embellishment this or embellish it with? What would you add to it? So back up and over. It's funny because my temperature in here says 60, but it just feels really cold. It feels like it's in the 40s. Although it's 40 outs, well, 39 outside. Tracy said little pine trees. That'll be cute. Marie said pine cones. I could definitely see pine cones. Definitely, definitely. Kim says pine corn. Oh, Tracy, acorns. Yeah, acorns would be great. Because there's oaks out here. We don't have any oaks, though. We have pine cones. We have all kinds of different pine trees. That's one thing I noticed too, is that very rarely is there just like one type of pine tree when you go for a walk in the forest. There's usually like quite a few different varieties. Cheryl, maybe a small fishing pole and a tiny fish. This would make for a really good Father's Day wreath, right? You could definitely do that. I do have a fish. I just don't have a fishing pole. I do have a bass fish though. That would look super cute in here. There are so many different, I love the ideas you guys are coming up with for how you could use that sign. And then, like if it wasn't necessarily fishing season, that could stay up all year round. I have to make these ones go the opposite direction. This was the only one. It seemed like it was off. Everything else is correct. 2 more, and then we'll start our bow. And then I'll show you the other 2 ribbons we're going to use to add here. We could have added fishing ribbon too. Okay. Back to our green with our pine. We discovered our first actual weird plant out here. We thought that they were wild tulips growing along the streams out here. They were these gorgeous yellow flowers and they look amazing. We actually went for a walk and we have a small creek down the road from us and they were all over the place. I think I posted it on the page this week or last week. Turns out, because Steve's like, oh, we should have brought a bucket. We could have taken some and planted them around our house. I was like, yeah, that would have been great. But I didn't want to like climb in the creek to get them. Turns out they're called skunk cabbage. They grow wild in places where it's very wet, like the Pacific Northwest is here. And it says they get their name because when they bloom, they smell like a skunk. They're supposed to attract flies. That's how they pollinate. And so I was like, well, it's a good thing we didn't go down there and pull them out. Because we would just be like, oh my God, what is that smell? Throw those things away. So that's another good reason to have that app. I have an app on my phone. It's called Picture This. And you can just take photos of things and it tells you what it is. So I've been doing it around our property. Oh, Kim says maybe a deer. That would be cute. Someone says put an anchor with a fishing pole. That was Tracy. Put an anchor in. You could do that. There's so many different things, because when you think about the mountains, you could put like a small boat, like a little canoe and a paddle, or you could put a couple paddles in here if you wanted to make it a lake wreath. Okay, so I want the green to be the predominant color here, because that's really what I want to pop. So I always want to make sure I have the green displayed on top, that it's not tucked underneath the brown. And I think that's perfect. That is our tail look. And see, look, when we add our sign. Dun, dun, dun. I'm trying to get rid of the overhead light. There we go. Not going to look pretty. We do need to break up all this other stuff, though. That's where having this maybe slightly... This one's weird because the welcome is off to the right, so it pretty much says we got to put our bow on this side. Because if we put it over here, it would cover our sign. So this is going to be an upper left hand, right? Upper right hand side bow. Okay, I'm going to put this to the side. Let's build our bow. We are using our green, our brown. We're gonna put, here's our pine, here's our striped. We're also gonna introduce hunter green with the beige stitching, right? Tracy's like, it doesn't need a bow. It doesn't, but I'm gonna just put one on there anyway. We're doing the hunter green with the beige stitching. This was from Joann's at the same time this one came out. These were like a coordinating ribbon. They actually had a hunter green too. And then we're going to take these pine branches on tan. This was also Joann's. So look, can you tell that they were all like a series together? So I think how I'm going to break these up. I know I'm doing pines on the outside. I think this is how I had it. That's how we're going to put them in our bow. So we're going to do the green on the outside. Should we do green? I like it like that. I think that looks like a better trio. Okay, so I'm going to take these. We're starting with the brown. So if you guys have not downloaded my bow recipe, this bow recipe I use pretty much all the time, just because I know how big it is, how long my tails are going to be, what it will yield. If you measured it just from the loops and not the tail length, you get an 11-inch diameter bow. So that's pretty big. That's like right here on the cutting mat. So from here to here, that's about as full around just from the loops. But we're going to go 10 inches in for our tail. So we're just going to gather and then twist, place it on the inside. And then we're going to go up and over, do a twist and push that on the inside. And I find it's easier to measure my ribbon if I keep my bow dabra on the 10 and then stretch this out. Right now that's at 6. I don't want it going quite so big. I want 5.5. So I stretch it out to the 5.5 inch mark. We're going to do that on the other side. Make sure our tails are even, or the loops are even, so are the tails. And then we'll stretch this out 10 inches. We're going to do a dovetail cut, which is take your wired edges, bring them together. You're going to start from the fold and cut to the wired end. And then depending upon how high up you are on your fold determines how deep your V is. I like mine to look pretty deep. I don't like them shallow, but that's just designer's preference. And there's that one. We'll wrap this, do the same thing, dovetail end, and then this one is going to be 9.5 inches. We're going to gather at the 9.5. We're going to twist. This time our loops are only going to be 5 inches, so we're going to take it down 1/2 inch. And the reason why I'm so precise on the measurements, it's kind of like a recipe, right? If you want the recipe to come out exactly the same each time, you got to be precise on your measurements. Otherwise, if you just eyeball it, you don't know if it's the same or not. You could have it slightly overdone cookies. You can have it slightly more crispy cookies than chewy. You can have flat instead of fluffy. Hopefully you don't mix up the salt and the sugar, but there's that. They look the same. Okay, now we're going to grab our brown. Same thing, dovetail end. And these next 2 ribbons, the loop size is exactly the same. So this one is going to be, the tail is 9 inches long. We're going to twist and place inside. Measure 4.5 inches. That's at 4. We want 4.5. There we go. Let's see. It's like that felt a little long. I want to make sure that it's nice and crisp on that where it goes into the bow dabber, that it's not bunched up. Okay, that one is down pat. Now we're going to take our pine branches. This one is going to be 8.5 inches for our tail length. Eight and a half. Twist this on the inside. Plus, putting a bow on it just kind of lets you add that extra foresty mountain cabin look. You know, the Deco mesh can only do so much. Ribbon is like our, it's like the jewelry in our outfit, right? It accents our design. So these ones are both the same size, 4.5 inches, but we need 8.5. There's that one. I'm like, why is my glue skillet not on? There we go. Not sure how that happened, but we kicked the power off. Which I'm glad I caught that, because I was like, why is nothing melty? Like, my glue skillet was hot, so I must have just bumped it off. This one is going to be 8 inches for the ribbon length, and the loop length is 4 inches. We're back to taking it down 1/2 inch. So we need to measure. We're at 4. Up and over. Right there at 4. And back out to 8. That is it. Take those off. Getting low on this. I don't think I have much more. I'm hoping Joann's will bring that back. And then our pine trees. Here we go with this. This one's going to be 7.5 inches for our tail length, and our bow length is going to be 3.5 inches. So up and over. Let me make sure. Right at 3.5. It's like the equivalent of a pine tree and a half. And then back out to 7.5. Okay, ribbons are done. We need to dovetail our last tail. Okay, we're gonna grab, I had pipe cleaners. There we go. We're gonna grab this one. And I find that if you put it in the U shape first, it kind of helps. So we're going to pick up our stack. We're just going to move your fingers so they're on either side so that you can drop the loop right on down. You're going to twist and hold it at the bottom and then just twist the stack of ribbon. It's easier on your hands that way. Okay. Now we'll fluff that. So my fluff board for now is a 24 by 24 by 1 inch thick piece of pre-cut lumber, just all sanded down. We're going to put an 1.5 inch screw C-hook in the center. We're just going to loop that through so that it's underneath the C-hook, just like that. And then I like to do north and south or top and bottom. And I start from the bottom and we separate tails from loops. So here's my tail to the left, loop to the right. Go to the other side and find the same ribbon. We're going to do loop or tail to the right, loop to the left. This way they're directly opposite of each other. When we grab the next one and pull it down, we're going to do opposite. So our tail's going to go to the right, our loop is going to go to the left, go to the other side, tail to the left, loop to the right. And so we're just going to keep bringing that set of ribbons down in the same way. So loop and tail. Okay, find it on the other side. We're going to bring our tail over here and our loop over here. Go back. We're going to go here and here. Go back. Here's our loop and our tail. Go back. We're going to go tail and loop. We're going to do tail and loop. And then the last one, we have it here, and then we have it here. So this, for me, this method, there's a couple options you can do. It took me 15 minutes and now you're on ribbons. I just kind of cheated and kind of did my base ahead of time. So I only just did like 3 pieces and then we were boom. That's done. So now what we're going to do is take our ribbons, our loops up. So I ignore the tails for now. You have the option, you can come back in if you want, and you can cut your tails so that they are the same length of your ribbons all the way down if you want. I like them to be just a little bit longer. And then we're going to grab the next set of 2. And then just decide where you want that to come. Like, do you want the pines in between those and put the stripe on the outside, or vice versa? You're the designer, so you decide what you'd like to see. And then you're going to grab the bottom 2, same thing. So that's going to kind of come between those. It's going to come between that, and then we need to grab the sides, open those up, open, just readjust, refluff, and then to put your curls back in your ribbon, your fingers are like make pretend scissors, and you just run those through your fingers, and it puts the little arc back in them. It's a little harder to see it on the very bottom, but they do it so that that'll follow your design all the way around. And there is our bow for that wreath. Super simple, right? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take this off. Put our fluff board down. Bring our wreath back over so that we can see everything. We know that we need to do our bow up here because we have our welcome so predominantly. The nice thing is if you wanted your welcome a little bit further over here, which I think I would do in the future, I'd move the welcome over so that I can put my bow here. You can reach out to Pam and talk to Pam and see if that's possible, if you'd like to move your welcome. So for me, right now, it's going to be here, but I am going to anchor it top and bottom. I could do side to side, but I'm going to do top and bottom. This is where metal hole punch comes in handy. We're going to punch a hole in the top and the bottom. And I'm going to use 22 gauge floral wire. And especially because we're going through that jute cotton mesh. Cut that off. I'm going to push these through. They go through really nice. They even go through just that size with a pipe cleaner, so you don't have to use a floral wire. I like to make sure that they're both the same size, and then I build, which means I twist right over the hole. So this way my wire is on the back of the sign and not off to the side down here. That means it'll lay flat on my design. Ooh, trying to get that in. Just like that. Back over our hole. Build it right there. Okay, I'm going to add my business card to that design as soon as I find my business card. Let us grab one. Okay, I'm just going to attach my business card to the back. I've actually had several customers mention, how come you don't put business cards on the back? Because sometimes we forget who we ordered them from. So, business cards going on the back so that they know who they bought it from. So should they want to purchase another one, that's where it'll be. We're going to place that right over here. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully somewhere in here we find our, I was hoping we'd find the center of one of our interior ones we had. Okay, one's down. Go ahead and get the other side in. I'm going to bring this forward right where I want it to be and then push down. How far do I want it to go down? So pretty much no further than that. It doesn't go all the way to the frame. It kind of floats on top of the Deco mesh. I'm going to do the same over here. I'm just pulling back some of my outside pieces. You can actually see my frame from here when I pulled all my mesh back. And I'm right over a cross member, which is always a really good place to be. There we go. Wanted to make sure I'm on both sides. This I'll fix in a second. Again, push it down as far as you want it to be. Go ahead and finish that off. Okay, and now I just want to, on this edge, feather the edge. I hate seeing harsh lines along the edge of my design. That's just my personal preference. So I'm going to take some of my mesh and I'm going to pull it out from underneath right here. And this is what's called feather the edge. We're just going to get rid of that harsh prominent circle right there. Make sure these are all the way open. Hey, babe. There and back again, huh? Yeah. Okay. Now, since we're putting our bow here, I'm going to leave my mesh tucked in because it's what I call my bow landing space. That's where my my bow needs a place to sit. So now I am going to, remember how I have loops and tails? Knowing where my loops are, I can kind of come straight in here and just place my bow right over the edge. So as soon as I find my pipe cleaner, I can go ahead and take that and get that down through the mesh. Pipe cleaners are hard to get through the mesh. Ooh.
You see jammies coming?
I'm
still having problems with the pulling of my ribbons off and I slide to the side.
Pulling the ribbons off, you mean fluffing the bow part?
Well, she said I'm still having problems with pulling my ribbons off and they slide to the side.
Pulling ribbons off. Yeah. Your ribbons around. See, I like it like that. And look, now it made, look, our pine trees are the same direction. Look, so we didn't even have to cut the ribbon to make that work. That just happened all on its own. So there's that. Look how pretty that is. Looks fabulous. Just on, it looks great. So glad you did the wreath. Thank you, Patricia. Okay. So now we're going to embellish. So you guys gave me some good ideas. We're actually going to embellish this with pines and pine cones, because I think that that's appropriate. People came up with some really good ideas. They were saying we should do fishing. You know, you could put a fish in here and a fishing pole, because it's got that look to it. Yeah. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be using, this noble pine pick. So we're going to be placing some of the pine around the bottom, not where we have the pine trees, but where the ribbon has the tricolor stripe. And then a little closer to the center, we're going to take the cypress pine and we're going to break up some of the edges around here and add the pines to the outside. So we're going to start with the noble picks. These are nice because you can just pull them off. Now that I said that, I couldn't get that one off. And they have really big, long bristle cones, but I'm not going to use the bristle cones. I'm going to use a different type of pine cone. I'm going to take this one off with the two. So first of all, I'm going to add my pines to the bottom. So they're just going to go like right in here. I'll take this one off. So we have a trio down here. Here's another trio. We're going to have this one up in here, just so we have those little pieces of pine all the way through. There's that one. And then we have another one on the other side. So I am just going to dip this in my glue skillet, which is now on. So it's going to go right underneath my loop. There's that. First one in. I'm going to do this one here, right underneath. Open that up. Spin that around. Right underneath. You can totally tell that my glue skillet is not at the heat that I would like it to be right now. It's still in the sticky stage. But I'm just using the corners where it is right where I want it to be. Okay. Gonna use the center one. So we have a trio. Just so we have like a true noble fir branch. Did we do the other one? We did that. We did this. That's on. So cool. We just have this one right underneath our bow. Right underneath. And let's find another single for this. Perfect. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. We are good there. All right, let us break down our cypress pine. So we have individual picks. This actually feels very lifelike. Another one. I'm trying to get them to where they have enough of a stem. There we go. And there we go. All right, now these, because these are wired all the way to the bottom, these we're going to use to break up around the outside of our sign. So there's some that have baby pine cones on them. So I'm thinking something along the lines. Let's get the pine cone to sit up like so. Let's bring our pine cone up. We're going to do, I don't want to impact my welcome, but I want one high and one low. Let's see. I might have to remove that branch. Like that. And then we have a couple down here that will mimic our pine, just like that. What do you think? Like when I turn this around. Dorothy, the sign is from Personalize It by Pam on Etsy. What do you think?
Yeah, good.
Love it. Love it.
Cabin.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's a good mountain cabin. I'm going to take the last little piece and tuck it in there. I don't know if I want...
Hi, Jane. Hi, Jane. This is evening all from
Australia?
early morning in Wales. Wales, England.
Australia? Is it Wales?
Yeah, she said from Wales, so that's England.
So I'm going to put the 2 on the inside of our ribbon too, to kind of tie that in. So let's go ahead and glue these two. So this one is going to go down. And then we're going to add our one with the pine, and that's going to go up. So weird to hear the rain.
Yeah.
But we can hear it really good. It just kind of ebbs and flows. Okay, here's our pine cone. I want this one down a little further. There we go. Kind of making it a little 3D on our sign. Grab this one. I'm just going to kind of tuck it in here. Okay. Those are up there.
Like I said, Personalize It by Pam is my go-to for signs. She makes signs also, super nice signs and super fast shipping.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to take these and put a couple of the branches in my bow. Just because I only have two. So I really want to draw that effect all the way into my bow. So I'm going to put one here, kind of one in here. Okay. And then we're going to add a couple pine cones to the outside. So I have these ones, which come from Hobby Lobby. So we can tuck some of those in, like there. We can add another one in here. We can add one over here. Just so we have a little trio of pine. And then, oops, I have mini ones. So let's go ahead and add the pine cones here. Okay, so I'm going to tuck that in here. Make sure I get all my glue threads off. Put that back in. I'm going to tuck this one in over here. Right inside. Tuck this one up here. Just like so. And then we'll get the little miniature ones. There's baby ones. And then there's a little bit bigger. So like these, we can use right at the edge if we wanted with our, these ones feel so big. I thought they would be ideal. I'm going to get the baby size ones out. Like these. See the difference in the sizes? Well, that one's an ugly one. Here's the biggers. So I'm going to take the little ones. We're just going to do a little dip. I'm going to tuck those right under the trio of our ribbons. And I'll show you that as we come around. So I'm just placing them just under our ribbon loop, but on our pine. It's actually noble fir. There's Douglas fir. Go back over here. Place that right underneath. It's always a great idea to always wait for your glue to dry before you pull it off. Okay. Okay. We have one right underneath. Oh, we missed one right here. Let us remedy that really quick. I missed one. Right over here. Off to the side. Right next to our bow. We have one more underneath here. And then we'll add one to the center of our bow. And then that will tie everything in. Let's see. We can put a nice size. There's where we can put the medium size one. We can put it right inside. Let me make sure it's the prettiest one I have though. I think I like that one. Can we find one in a light? Like that one seems dark. Like I like the light. There we go. No. That one is way too dark.
Oh, it's a medium one in the center of the bow, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I was like just trying to find the right color because there's some that are kind of gray.
Or dark and light.
Yeah, and I want the light. So we put the smaller ones in, and then what we can do as well is around our pine cones we added to the outside, like in here, we can add just a little sprig of pine in there. So I'm kind of tucking them up underneath the pine, especially like up here. Definitely tie that one in. There we go. Single pieces. There's that. So like this one. The Deco mesh is overly clingy. Overly clingy. And this one, we can kind of tuck inside. And then that is it.
So that's perfect.
So this way you can actually see it your way. Nope. Ugh.
I gotta find a way to get the wrap.
Yeah, it's just the overhead one.
Yeah.
There we go. It's nice and pretty. So that is the finished design. I will flip you up so you can actually see it on the door. I guess we're going to put it on white. No, I wasn't sure if I wanted white or black. I think white would make it, because this is our light background. I think we need that. So, oh, you take that off? Okay. You want to pivot that up? So, what do you guys think? Let me fix all my ribbon tails. There we go. I tilted it. There we go. Now it's on the hook. Okay. What do you guys think? There you guys go. I just zoom in so they don't have to see me anywhere. Oh, what? You disappeared?
Yeah.
He's disappearing. So that is our final design for today. Why does it look so wonky? It looks kind of on my tablet. Hold on a second. Are we up? Let me fix that. There we go. Okay, now we're upright. Sorry. So that's that. Couple last minute reminders for you guys. This is available on my website. If you would like to purchase it, you can do so at catscreationsandmore.com. I will put that at the bottom of this post, even for those of you that are going to be watching this on a replay. That'll be there for you as well. Let's see, where are we at? I hate these things. Nope. Why did it go all the way to capitals?
Did you want me to post it?
Yeah. Can you pin it for me?
Sure.
So, Steve's going to pin that for you because I suck writing on a tablet. So that's available for sale. There's the only one. You guys know my whole theory. There's only ever one. And then also, private group is open. If you guys want to join us, we're just now getting into how to open up an Etsy shop. So if you've ever wanted to know how to open an Etsy shop, so we just started that. So if you'd like to join, it's also on the same website at catscreationsandmore.com that Steve pinned to the bottom. There's also free tutorials there. There's all kinds of free stuff there. So if you guys can, hop over there and check that out. Otherwise, join me on Thursday where I think we're going to be doing a patriotic mailbox swag. So I need to decorate my mailbox out front. So I'm going to have you guys come join me. That will be at 11 o'clock. Hang on a sec. We might have to go a little bit earlier. I will get back to you on the exact time for the class on Thursday. Other than that, have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.